Hi everybody! I hope you're all doing well today. It is June 2019 and I'm in the Secret Garden, so I thought it'd be a great time for a tour. It's late morning, so the light is lovely, I hope. And if you can hear that, the fountain is running because the solar panel is getting some light. So I love that, makes me happy. So in the Secret Garden we have had some progress and we've had a pretty major setback. But that's what these videos are about. It's about how a garden progresses, the challenges that we face, particularly here in New Mexico, growing things here, the mistakes that we make, and how we fix that. So let's take a tour and see how it's going. First, we're going to go, hang on here, let me turn you around carefully. We're going to look at this corner here. So we got our big ladder hanging out. We don't have this finished. This is where we're going to put more brick. And back here in this corner, back along the wall here, we've got ivy. That's where the rose was earlier. But it was not getting enough sunlight, so it needed to move. And ivy does grow here in Albuquerque, in the lower elevations of Albuquerque, not like the higher elevations. So like in the northeast heights, it gets pretty, high elevation and it's colder there. But especially in like downtown, Old Town Albuquerque, you'll see ivy growing up the walls of houses. Now, I don't want ivy growing up the walls of my house, because it can be pretty damaging to your brick. But I think that along this wall here, it would look nice growing. So I have not tried growing ivy here in New Mexico before, so this is the first time experiment. It does need quite a bit of shade. So I think that spot will be good for it. We'll see. All right, so now we're going to turn around and look at some of the progress and also the big setback, the mistake that I made. So here we go. There you go. So there's part of a pergola. And I've got the brick down on that end, and I just love that. However, this is the problem. Right there. That's a big problem. The grass was much greener when I put it in. So what happened was the sod, when I bought it, I checked inside, but I didn't look really carefully, which I should have done. That's my big mistake. And I hauled it home and I brought it in and I started to unroll it, and I realized that there was about this much clippings embedded in the grass. So what they had done is they'd cut the grass, then they cut out the sod and they rolled it up without blowing the clippings off of the grass. They probably let the grass grow really long because the clippings were really quite thick. And honestly, I was pretty tired from hauling it here and then, hauling it back into the secret garden and starting to install it. And I just thought, it's just too much hassle to take it back. So I thought, well, I'll risk it and see if I can get it to grow. And it rained quite a bit afterwards that I put it in, but it just kind of meshed that clipping down. And I tried to take the clippings off, but they were pretty stuck in, so I couldn't do that. So it died pretty quickly, but I have reseeded it and it is starting to come back to life. And also, I'm going to turn you around again. So there you can see I've got some stepping stones kind of in place, and in the middle, that's where I'm going to put a bird bath, I hope. So there won't be a whole lot of actual grass growing. I just wanted a little bit of green. And old Mr. Snickers is back there. Where are you at, Snickers? There's the Snickers. He absolutely loves it. This is his little domain. He's in retirement, basically. He's an old fella, and he likes being on his own. So he comes out here, and he lays in that grass, and he's just so happy. It's like finally somebody is treating me the way they should. He cracks me up. So let's turn around here again. We're going to take a look at the roses. Are doing really quite well. I think we'll walk over here and take a peek at our little fountain. I moved the fountain over here to this back corner. Where are you at, fountain? There we go. Sorry. It's just so pleasant to sit back here and listen to that fountain. It's really lovely. Up here, these trees, if you'll notice, are tied to the fence. The reason they're tied to the fence is the wind was so severe that it was actually bending the trees right down to the ground, and that is not good for a tree. You know, it's good for them to move around so they get strong bones as it is a strong trunk. But when they're being bent over that badly, it's really not good for the tree. I hope they're going to be okay. And I tried tree stakes, and it was just pulling the tree stakes over too. So I went ahead and tied these to the fence. I did the same thing in the back. I'll show you when I do that tour, but I fastened some wood to the cement fence and then hooked the trees into those pieces of wood. They're loose enough that when the wind does blow them a little bit, they can move around some so that they'll have strong enough trunks, I hope. We'll see by next year. Hopefully their trunks will get stronger. But that's why they're tied to the fence. Up here, I'm very excited to show you. When you look up above that pergola, satellite dishes aren't there anymore for the TV. When we moved in, there were a whole bunch of them up there, and we don't use them. But I don't do roofs. I don't get on the roof. I do a lot of stuff, but I don't do that. So I've been asking hubby to get them down, and he got them down this couple of months ago. So I'm really happy about that. And let's see. Oh, look, there's a little Snickers hanging out in his grass. He just loves it. And the roses, I'm hoping, will grow up over that trellis. And then on that back wall, I'm thinking I'll put more ivy so that it'll grow, because it is an evergreen, and that's one of the goals here, is to have a little bit that's green all year, because it does get a little bit, you know, brown, and it can be a little wearing. So it's nice to have a little green throughout the year. So what's left here in the secret garden is to finish this pergola up here, and then up along the edges of these pergolas on each side, I'm going to run a clothesline. I've decided to simplify my plan because I realized I didn't need to add any more posts for that. I can just run a line on each side, and that way also it doesn't interfere with how it looks back here. I do want the clothesline, but I also want it to look pretty. And then I'll be finishing putting in the brick in on the other side and get a seating area on the other side there. I might add another fountain on that side, we'll see. And then a bird bath in the middle of the grass, and a couple other, you know, decorative things. And I think that by the end of summer I'll be finished with this particular area. So I think that's pretty exciting. Anyway, I hope you're all having a great June out there, and I hope you have a secret garden somewhere that's growing for you, and an old Snicker dogs who enjoys them. I hope we all learn from my mistakes and move on. So next time I'm going to be looking closer at the inside of sod. I don't have a whole lot more. I have a little addition in the back that I'll be adding a little bit of grass to. And then I'll be cutting down on the grass too. I know it doesn't quite make sense, but I find it to be really good as a good base to get it started, and then start building inside of that, and then have the little bits of grass growing around things. Because again, and we are in the desert, and I don't want to use a lot of water. So I do try to keep that down and keep it visually attractive without using a whole lot of water. So it's one of my little tricks. All right, guys, have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.